Hey guys, welcome back to StarCraft 2. Again, we're doing another match review. We actually have two matches to go over this time because it's the best 2 out of 3. Today we are going to be looking over Stickypigeon vs Nonagon. This occurred today actually. I just imported it into my StarCraft, so it's going to be pretty much a blind reaction. I'm reviewing this for Stickypigeon. I'm going to do my best to give him some stuff to work on and ways he could have improved through the matches. I'm not going to tell you who won the match, but I already know in advance, unfortunately. Most of these matches I'm going to know in advance who won or who lost. I would love it to be more interactive where I can not know who won or lost, but such is life, especially since I'm in the room with these guys while they're playing. So we load in here. Remember, rules are no units except for scouting units across the middle of the map before 4 minutes, and max limit out of a match is 25. Here we go. Alright, right off the bat, no worker out of either team yet. Nothing actually, just crystal collection. Again, would have loved to see workers sooner. I understand going for an overlord quickly, but there comes this worker. I would say worker first. Early gas again. I'm surprised at seeing how early these gases are going. And second gas up as well. 11 out of 16 workers on the crystal line. Second worker coming up along with another overlord. We're up to 3 overlords and 13 workers. Immediately maxing out both of our Vespene geysers, which I'm proud of. Never want to waste those resources. No spawning pool yet, however. I'd like to see that up around the 1 minute mark. So has enough minerals for a spawning pool now. Still not up yet. Opting for another worker. We have one AFK worker over here. Make sure we're setting our worker spawn-ins right. Now I understand sometimes that doesn't go well. Another worker coming up. Still no spawning pool. We could probably be in further tech by now. Looking at our opponent, he's got a barracks up and is already... No, hasn't produced troops yet, but he is running ahead of the game here. In fact, the enemy's already on second base. Another worker coming up. We got both a spawning pool and a evolution chamber going up. Evolution chamber got placed before the spawning pool. Evolution chamber may be nice, but I'd like to see the spawning pool up before that so you can start building your zergs up. Zerglings, I mean. Evolution chamber finished with no actions with it yet. We have more workers coming up as well. Love to see it. Never hurts to be working or making more of those. Especially since we can't get our zergs yet. Another overlord up as well. Keeping up with our supply. Haven't gotten supply blocked yet. Going into our hatchery. Love to see it. Another overlord. Again, keeping ahead of the curve. Going for a baneling nest. Getting our advanced structures going. Good on them. More drones. Nearly maxed out on the crystal supply. I would say start splitting your larvae right about here. You want those zerglings up so you can go for a rush as quickly as possible. On our 4th overlord. About to get our roach warren down. That way we can get those going. Here comes our first zerglings in our pool. Good to see. Although we don't have any upgrades going down yet for our zerglings for movement speed or resistances. I'd like to see those as well. That way our zerglings can do some damage and have their speed while kiting around the base. Checking back in on our Terran player. He's got a tech lab on one of his barracks. He's got second barracks up. and a reactor on it, but they aren't doing the best job of staying up on production, it seems. And we have a barracks who's partially stocked with Marines. He's working on his wall already. Looks like we're opting for a Hydralisk Den and an infestation pit already. And would love to see more of an army built up before worrying about our more advanced units. Especially since right now is when you could have gone for a timing rush. He doesn't have a lot of defenses yet. You probably could have taken out the barracks, no problem. Especially with the consideration of you want that rush as quickly as possible. Probably could have beaten him to making these supply depots and prevented him from walling you off from getting to his base. Looks like we're already opting for our lair. We still don't have a second base from Stickypigeon, so he's running a bit behind on the resource gathering. Although it appears that we're just getting our orbital command out of the Terran, and we are running low on workers supply-wise. More Zergs up. Right now would be a good time to go on that attack again. He doesn't have a complete wall yet, or a big enough army to really slow down a big Zerg rush. Got some more Zerglings coming up along with some roaches. Looks like we've got an overseer. Looks like we're about to go for our first raid here from the Zerg. Player's about to finish up. Excited to see what he does with that. Roaches are done. Comes the lair. Lair complete. Love to see some more queens getting spawned in, spreading our creep a bit. That way we have an advantage if we get attacked. Opting for the Ultralisk Den, however. Like we got some roaches as well. Larvae finally spawning in as well. Checking in on our Terran again. He's building his third base, however he's not mining very well with the bases he already has. So they are on pretty even footing for mineral collection. Well, I say that and then I check the graphs. Looks like he's getting about 1400 per second, while our Zerg is only getting 800 to 900. Gas. Stickypigeon is at advantage on gas, however, which Ultralisk Den about to finish up for our Zerg. No upgrades researching again for our Zerg. Got an Infestor. No neural parasite for our Infestors, however. Looks like we're going for our raid. Ooh. Bit late on the raid. The Terran was able to get a army up in time to defend. Not an unbeatable defense, but just not enough of an army from our Zerg player to break through. Single Corruptor as well. Didn't see that spawn in, but it tried. Would like to see a bit more scouting. If we check what our Zerg can see here, all he knows is that there's a base here, collectors, and our 3 defensive structures here. Doesn't even know there's a base here. Would love to see, again, a bit more scouting with that Overlord before engaging in a fight. We are at 732. Let's check our army values, see who's ahead. Right now, especially from the losses, we are behind for our Zerg. 350 minerals, 250 gas versus a 1200 mineral, 150 gas army. Up to a 300 gas. Oh, there we go. Now he has a lead. He could have gone for an engage again here. You got to be thinking about how much do I have invested and how much do I know my enemy has invested. You know the wall isn't quite up yet, so you could have gone for another raid. Catching them while they're low. Second base is coming up as well. Let's check our units overall. We are at a 10 worker deficit, but we have a much larger army value again. Make sure to remember that if you are spreading your creep efficiently, you can use your queens as an effective combat unit. One of the most effective combat units for Zerg, as I found out recently, is the Queen. Even though it seems like a more defensive unit. Getting some creep spread from the second base. Although, unfortunately, without any interference, the creep spread isn't going to unite between the bases. We're going for our second raid here, and it looks like our army is way split up. Mutalisk and Corruptor getting picked off quite quickly. Hate to see the army split here. He breaks his supply depot, however, and is going for the army. Gets some heavy damage in, but again is repelled. Medevac coming in for Terran to heal up his troops after the battle. We're overworking our minerals on our Zerg main base with no workers on our second base, although like some more coming up for our Zerg. A couple more queens in production as well, I think. Check one. I actually don't know the hotkey to. Oh, units lost. Thing to double check. 40 units lost for our Zerg and 21 for our Terran. Good work or resource deficit. Our Terran is at the advantage there. Although, let's check army value again. We are almost even again. I think the biggest issue for our Zerg player is they are at a disadvantage when it comes to yes, upgrades. They are behind. Terran has, I think, yeah, armor and upgrades. One? Check their engineer bay quick. Nope, that isn't letting me see the upgrades. Oh, there it is. Yep, armor and weapons 1. So no matter how equal you make your troop values, you're always going to be behind unless you get those upgrades done. And again, Terran also has air advantage. Ooh, we're training our Zerglings. Make sure you regroup them before going in. Again, I appreciate the attempt. It seems to be a little bit too late, however, to be going for this tactic anymore unless you really build up. Ooh, some dragging in Zerglings. They're running a bit behind and get blown out of the air. Terran now has a massive advantage over our Zergling. I would love to see them start hanging back a little bit and getting their army built up. They know the Terran has to engage at some point here as we're coming in on the 15-minute mark. Want to make sure we have the ability to defend ourselves if we're attacked by that Terran. We are about to max out our second base for drones. Again, I would love to see that army getting built back up and playing defensive, spreading our creep for the Zerg. I have yet to see any Hydralisks or Infestors, other than that one earlier that I actually don't know where it ended up. I think it got blown up in that engage just now. No Bannerlings at all from our Zerg player as well. Not the best use of our more advanced troops so far. Mutalisk coming up as well. There's our production tab. We see some Corruptors coming up for our Zerg player. As our Terran player goes for a couple more supply depots and a reactor. Again, I've been seeing this for our Terran player. He's getting supply blocked quite a bit. Yes, Father Zerg. I can hear you back there yelling at me. Not sure the audience can though. Which makes it quite weird, now that I think about it, me responding to him. Getting some more larvae up for our Zerg as well. Like we have a few sensory towers, getting ourselves that heads up if the Zerg's coming in. Bit of an issue for our Zerg player if he wants to go for those sneak attacks more. Although again, our Terran player is undermining his bases. We could be going for some aggression here on his workers, maybe. Yeah, right now would be a great time to get some ventral stacks up, get a fly around in, get some harass. As I talked with our Zerg player about, right now is your opportunity to get that Nidius network set up in his base using some creep spawn. Looks like our Zerg player is going again for an engage, and his units is once again split up. Mutalisk going down. Corruptors not far behind. They back out, wait for the rest of the army to go in, and are taken down slightly before the rest of the army gets in there. Not the best target priority from our Zerg player here. Would love to see him go for the supply depot faster, followed by the siege tank since it's the one doing the AoE damage to him. Terran player withdrawing his units, making sure they're healed up after the battle, getting his defenses rebuilt. Random Mutalisks flying in here, getting taken out. Random Mutalisk and Corruptor. Looks like he's going for a scout of the army. Gets hit by the lock on from one of our Terran troops. And again, as he's looking at that final base, he gets struck down. Looks like he was going for a sneaky flyby of the medevacs, but didn't work out for him. Still overmining on our main base. Looks like we're going for 4 more of our Ultralisks. Although I would like to see some more air specialization, maybe some Broodlords. Get a greater Spire up. Make sure we have a great way to counter all of those smaller point destruction usage the Terran has when going for a fight. Got some Zerglings going up as well. Still no air defense from our Zerg. No creep spread as well. Still behind on our econ as well. Make sure we're expanding that a bit faster next time. Again, I would love to give him these tips in between matches. Just didn't get the chance this time around. I'll do my best. Looks like we have armor 1 for our factory produced for the Terrans. Once again, no upgrades from ours as of yet. We're closing in on the 17-minute mark here. I would like to see for the Terran to engage. They have a massive army advantage over our Zerg right now. Probably could wipe them out, but unfortunately they're just sitting back on their advantage. Have another sensor tower up, prepared for that engage by the Zerg, but still no greater Spire or any scouting from our Zerg player other than his full engages. Looks like he's been trying to do timing attacks, but has not had the advantage in numbers or in upgrades in order to pull them off. Looks like we're transferring the majority of our drones over to... Nope, they're going straight onto the crystals here. Got a bunch of AFK workers. Remember, you can just hit shift and spam F1 to get all of your AFK workers selected. It's one of the most effective ways to clear out when you've mined out a base. Getting our Mutalisks over to our main army. I would like to see the main army staying stationed right around here, especially on this map. Want to defend against an engage by our Terran player. Not much going on right now. Although we do have a massive supply difference here. Again, I would love to see our Terran player using this troop advantage. Or at the very least, using some of his flyers to go scout out, find what his enemy is doing, what his army looks like, know if he can go for that engage and win the game for himself. Looks like he does have infantry armor too, so his units will sustain a lot better against the Zerg army. Again, Friends, don't forget your upgrades. They're some of the most important things that can win you a fight in this game. When your armies are equal, what decides the battle is how much damage your army can take versus theirs and how much damage it can output. Looks like we're about to see air weapons 1 being out for our opponent, as well as infantry weapons 2 and air armor 1 quickly being outpaced. Our zerg players quickly being outpaced, and again we see him splitting his resources, not grouping them up before going for a fight. Slowly running them in. Siege tank is just burning through his troops right now while they try to get in there. Looks like our Terran player's thinking about going for an engage. He's pushing up a little. 2 little zerglings running in there all on their own, getting blasted out. Looks like our Terran is finally going on the move, going for the engage. He has capped out his supply. He's at maximum of 200. Looks like he had a supply depot taken out, so he can no longer hit that, but... Oh, final supply depot's up. He is still at his maximum of 200. I think that's what our player was waiting for this whole time. He's taking out the debris, blocking his pathway into the enemy base. Looks like he's focused back onto his main base. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Going for the engage. Swarm host goes down. Along with our zergs takes natural expansion. Workers seem to be fleeing. Looks like an army reselection for our Terran. He's going in for the main base. And Stickypigeon surrenders. Quite an eventful match. Main takeaways for the Zerg. Make sure you're keeping up with those upgrades, getting more sooner, especially if you're going for that early. Know you're targeting when going for structures, especially against a wall like that. You want to go for those barracks. Then go for the supply depots, or maybe the missile turrets if they're up. That first round, you did not have anything blocking, engaging through sides and getting to the workers or taking out those barracks. Biggest issue I could see is you're stuttering your troops, not allowing them to move in as a mass. You keep sending in the mutalisks and corruptors, your flyers in a little bit early, and splitting them up so they don't have any ground defense to distract the opponents from. As the late game approached, when you kept doing those rushes, you didn't have the upgrades necessary to beat his army, nor did you go for the flash damage unit that was taking out the majority of your army the fastest. That one siege tank did a lot of the work. To demonstrate that, let me go over to the Terran's base here on screen, and 24 kills for the siege tank. That is... Let me check the killed unit count here if I can find it. Oh, back up a bit. Sorry. Let me pause it. That's an important screen to look at. Here is the difference in upgrades between the teams. Majority of these are going to be upgrades for specific, like this. These two are for your basic ground units, and this is an upgrade for your other units. This cloaking for, I think, the either the Banshee or the Ghost. I didn't see a single Ghost, or even a Ghost Academy out of our opponent here, so I'm guessing it's for Banshees, although I never saw a Banshee on his team. The Yamamoto cannons for your flyers, but he had infantry weapons and armors too, as well as vehicle weapons and armor 1, so he had a definite advantage there. And this will actually put it into perspective just the difference in spending. You were about equal on tech just for different things. Put in less work into his army, while you put in more work and he still came out ahead from his upgrades. And he had better econ spending than you. Gave him the advantage. structures. That was a seek by accident. And a seek. I'm probably going to end up editing this out of the video until I find the right thing. There's the units lost. 181 units, 171 resources spent on your units. Again, just a few simple micro decisions can help you use those more efficiently, and the macro decision to upgrade your units using your evolution chambers or your spires just to make sure that you're dealing that extra damage to keep up with the advantages your opponent has will keep you in a game. I'm going to launch into a viewing of the second match now, but it's probably going to be a lot of the same subject matter. I don't know how to. There's some personal stuff that I had to get done. Going into the second round of Stickypigeon versus Nonagon. Probably going to be a lot of the same thing. So I might put this on double speed. I'm gonna switch back my overlay to the. Oh nope, can't do that now. Can I? Cool. Need your help. The game is. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna change this spec. That doesn't change it until I exit. Again, relaunching back into our Proto or Zerg v Terran Stickypigeon. Again, no get our Zerg player. Here comes an Overlord. And you have that 2 supply to get those drones in early. The best player. Again, he's already falling behind in the spending department. Get our production menu up. He's opting for the 2 gases again. As I said in the previous video, we have worrying about the gas. Important to remember that gas is really used to either get to upgrade your ventral stacks, but there isn't much use for it this early in the game. You'd be better off getting your Zerg built up for the 4-minute rush attack. Here comes the spawning pool. Spawning pool down, upgrade started. Another drone coming up as well. Let's check in on our Terran player. He's got a barracks down, building a tech lab expansion. Doing a decent job keeping his workers up. He's building a second command base already, and I feel like that's a bit early for a command. Possibly just me. Also got our evolution chamber going up for our Zerg player. And I would like to see some Zerglings out of him as soon as the spawning pool up. He has that opportunity. Evolution chamber is done before the spawning. No upgrade. First Marine coming down along with a bunker from our Terran player trying to get his wall up to defend his second base. Got our hatchery level up coming in, getting our layer. That's important for our later game builds. Getting a paneling. There's still no zerglings from paneling. No upgrades as well. Again. Not for player. I'm actually going to throw the speed match for a second. Not really. Slow it back down now that the paneling is up. Check back in our Terran player. He's got a supply depot up along with a fully stocked barracks. Another supply depot going up. Keeping up on his workers, although he's not building anymore, as far as I can tell. Nope, not building anymore. We have a second base going up from our Zerg really fast this match, I approve. And as we hit the 4-minute mark, there is no army units for the side of Stickypigeon yet. Right now, again, is where I would love to see him going for that Zergling rush, but he's been focusing on just getting his tech built up, which I can respect, but again, would have loved to see that quick rush here. While his opponent does not have his wall finished and only a few army troops, he could have had an army of if I'm correct on my Zerg build pathings, he could have, let's assume he doesn't build any of these, gets all the minerals from that, along with the Spire's minerals. He could have around, I want to say 30 Zerglings up right now. Along with maybe some upgrades for his units to make sure that they could get through any upgrades that his opponent's given them. We hit the 5-minute mark again, no army out of Stickypigeon. Not much has changed from our Terran player. Although he is getting a tech lab expansion built onto his factory. And a starport down as well, get those more advanced units being produced for our Terran player. Sorry if it seems I'm being a bit too harsh on the Zerg player. We had a decently long conversation about this match, trying to help him get better. Looks like we're seeing a hive coming out of our Zerg player as well, moving a queen down towards his lower ground. Would have liked to see him place a creep tumor on his way by, maybe get that creep expanded into his base. Interesting building from the advanced buildings, by the way. Nice wall he's got built up here, defends him a bit if he gets invaded. Looks like he's got some Mutalisks, Roaches, and Corruptors coming up here in a second. I would like to see some of his more sneaky units like a Hydralisk or a Hydralisks hiding somewhere burrowed. He has not even searched burrowing yet, which is an important thing to have on Zerg. It's your one way to really hide where you have your units at. I would like to see him go for a timing attack here, make sure he can get some damage in against this Terran, but looks like he's just going to sit on his units. No upgraded, my brain just for a second. Ah, there you are. No upgrades yet from our overlords. And again, right now we'll be looking at the enemy base. He could go for a Nidius network sneak around right here if he really wanted to. May use a ventral sack upgrade and hit him where it hurts with some few hidden Zerglings. Overmining our main base, not switching over our drones quick. There they go. Off down to his second base. Looks like he's nearly got maxed out. Overworking that Vespene guys are just a little. Looks like he's about to switch it over though. There we go. Infantry weapons 1 coming out from our Terran player, and a third base, although he really does not have a lot of workers to be manning a third base like that. Although I do appreciate the call down mules that are getting used here, but that is a lot of energy. You could have scanned, checking in our opponent here, making sure he's not falling behind. Looks like we got a bunch of Mutalisks coming down from our Zerg player. Maybe he's going to finally go for that engage we're waiting for. Out they pop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 and 8. Looks like he's going to join his army. Finally got that Overlord upgrade we've been looking for. Getting our Ultralisk Cavern up. Might be able to see a few Ultralisks here in a second. No upgrades as of yet, I believe. Let's double check that. See our upgrade comparison. No upgrades for our Zerg. We have Marine Shields, Marauder Slow Shots, Infantry Weapons 1, and Infantry Armor 1 for our Terran upgrades. Active Forces comparison. Zerg once again has a huge lead on our Terran forces. If he uses properly, he could probably win a fight, or even end it now. APM, it appears our Zerg is doing better on that. Well, I do not know what APM stands for, so I shouldn't be talking about that. Switching back to our production, we can see an Ultralisk about to pop up for our Zerg. A few more Zerglings as well. Still no upgrades out of our Zerg. Things I missed at one point. We lost an SCV on the Terran side. Not sure what hazard took it, or if it was a miss put by our Terran. Still a bit of resources lost. Checking our income graphs, we can see here that our Zerg is definitely ahead, even though he is behind a base, because he has a lot more workers taking advantage of the resources he does have access to. Switching back to our production here, we can see more Corruptors, Zerglings, and Ultralisks coming up for our Zerg. Although there is a few Banshees, another Marauder, and a couple more coming up side. Again, would love to see an engage from our Zerg right here. Looks like that's what he's getting ready to do, although he is splitting his forces again. Maybe. Probably concentrating the third base coming out as well, finally. Moving a queen down as well. Again, would love to see creep spread out of this Zerg player. Really slowing down how quickly his units get across the map. Right now, I would like to see maybe about a halfway point on that creep. Get it over to here. Make sure that you can get halfway across that map as quickly as possible. And again, even though you would love to protect that expansion, you got to remember that if your Terran really wants to, he can come up this side right here and not have to worry about defending himself. We got a few more Ultralisks coming in. Looks like we're moving out on the attacking front. Again, our Zerg is splitting his army units. Looks like he's going to stage a regroup though. Perhaps. Mutalisks and Corruptors grouping up. Oh, they engaged early. Doesn't look like he set the auto attack move properly. They're going for the air troops instead of the ground troops. Looks like the upgrades from the Terran are going to win the day, along with the fact that the Roaches got a little bit delayed coming into the fight. If we had had that artillery going during that scuffle right there, we probably would have seen a win for Stickypigeon. Real quick, I want to just demonstrate the army power difference here. Active forces here. Stickypigeon has a massive advantage in his Crystal and Vespene usage, along with a much stronger army than what it appears to be. Although, if we check our upgrades, we can see that still behind in that, and as we watched in this fight that I'm going to quickly replay, did not focus down the barracks or the two buildings that are really doing the majority, or three buildings that are really doing the majority of the damage for Terran. Again, he stuttered his air troops in without the ground distraction, so they just instantly get taken out. As we watch, you can see the siege tanks kills just getting higher and higher as that AoE splash damage just touches the bear. Didn't get a good chance to see, but the missile turrets are also doing some work. Over the Terran army, the Marines did some work as well. But it's important to note that, again, it was the siege tanks and missile turrets that did the most work for our Terran player here. Ooh, we got 3 Ultralists just running into the enemy team. He takes out the supply depot and a couple of our Marines, but it doesn't seem like a very equivalent raid there. Just to demonstrate that, let's check our loss total. Yes, 7,450 resources lost on the Zerg side, while only 1,300 lost on the Terran side. Check our production. We got a few more Ultralists, Zergling, a Corruptor coming in, our Zerg, along with some drones. We'll have to see the econ advantage that Stickypigeon is keeping over this Terran, and make sure that they can't get that advantage over him. He's got about 5 Ultralists right now. Just to demonstrate again, active forces comparison, he is stronger than the Terran from a technical standpoint. Even though the Terran's position is a lot more defensible, don't focus the right units, or go for a sneak tactic like getting a Nidius network placed behind enemy. You aren't going to be able to get past the Terran defense. And again, remember that even though it may seem that this is the best place to defend your bases, remember the Terran can just sneak around through here and get in. No defensive structures from Stickypigeon at all to defend himself. Got some roaches moving out towards the army as well. Again, Stickypigeon has that army advantage over the Terran, just falling behind in the upgrades. I am going to speed up the match a little. Don't want this video dragging out too long, as again, I'm mostly going to be repeating the same things. Stickypigeon once again going in on the attack. Sources getting split, Mutalists down, Corruptors should follow. Ultralists stumbling. Nice Roach army finally coming in, coming to bear, getting some units taken out. But again, not enough, little too late from our Zerg player. And again, Terran would love to see you going for an attack immediately after taking out these Zerg armies. You know that he has to have used at least the majority of his resources if you keep track of how much he's used. If he's low on army, this is the perfect time to go on the offensive, finish him off while he's low. A few more Zergs going in. I think they got auto-corrected even though they were still in production. That's the weird thing about using the F2 key. Gotta be careful about how you use it. Get some chip damage in against the bunker, but it looks like it's just going to be repaired again by this worker here, perhaps. Checking in on our Zerg base. Check our production menu actually. Terran is getting more upgrades while Zerg is trying to build their army back up again for that final engage. Speed it up a bit again. Seems right now our match is just following that back and forth pattern over and over again of Zerg rushing in, not focusing the right things, and getting eliminated from the difference in defenses along with the lack of upgrades. Zerg army grouping. Looks like he's focusing more on a ground-based army. I would like to. The one thing that I would also really like to see out of this Zerg, knowing the amount of structures the enemy has, I would like to see him upgrade the majority of the Zerglings into Banelings. That way they do that splash AoE damage and the bonus damage to towers, get those, or structures, and get those things out of the way just with a whole rush of Banelings. Here comes the Zerg again. Mutalists early, getting taken out. Again, focusing the supply depots or the bunker or the siege tank, the two things that are really protecting him the most. Looks like Terran's moving his army out a little bit. Maybe it was just that auto attack, auto move. Gonna speed up the match a little bit more again. Looks like we're going for a massive Zergling army on the side of the Zerg. Got a few Mutalisks in here. Looks like we're gonna get a few Ultralisks as well. Corruptor and a Roach. Final rush of the Zerg. Here we go. Mutalisks again. We'll go in early with the Corruptors. Looks like the Zerglings hit the base faster this time, but are taken out a lot quicker, especially because of that siege tank with that 30 kills on it. I don't think there's a lot more AoE damage on the opposing team for him. And as the Terran is gauging up for that final fight, looks like he's about to hit his max flycat, which seems to be this Terran's trigger to go in. Terran goes soaring across the map, splitting his army, however. If our Zerg had a few more defenses, he could probably last out here, but no defensive structures on the side of the Zerg at all. The few queens he do have might be able to save him though. Terran engaging, killing that queen off as quickly as possible and taking out the base and the Vespene adapter. The Zerg 4th base still over here trying to produce, get some stuff out, as the main Terran taking it down, it goes down. Tries desperately to defend off. One spore caller done successfully. The layer is taken out. Pigeon does have that one massive base there to get only up quickly enough to defend himself. Looks like our Terran has found the opponent, however. Although he is focusing on taking down the enemy's supply creatures as quickly as possible to prevent a larger army being produced, it appears. He begins to move out towards Stickypigeon's final base, taking out the Vespene adapter on the way past, although he does miss one in Stickypigeon's main natural expansion. The army is regrouped, and here they go, going for that final takedown. Looks like Stickypigeon's trying to sneak one final command center out here as the match draws to its close. Looks like Stickypigeon is for the surrender here, as there's not really much he can do himself. Indeed. Well, in the end, Terran won. they had a better defensive structure, and Zerg did not try to go for any sneaky ways around it. Also really fell behind in the upgrades category, as you can see here. Just the massive difference in the upgrades. Although a lot of times Stickypigeon did have that stronger army, he did not have the resources in upgrades or the engineering to sneak around. If you would like to have me review one of your replays, or would like to give me some tips, there will be a Discord link in the description. You can join that, send me them there, or message me on the NSESA Discord, or DM me. DMs are open at all times if you would like some help. I'm also working on creating a spreadsheet with some general tips for any new players, so if you would like that, just ask, and if you have anything to contribute, I have the link set to commentator mode. You can add to the doc however you want, just be smart about it, please. And thank you. Have a good